Hello. So before we get into the next video, I just wanted to give you some numbers as far as the butterflies and the moths that we let go in 2021. I realized I hadn't done that and I haven't put out a new video for a while. So let's see, for Luna's, we had 8 boys and 14 girls that we let go this past summer in 2021. We had 43 boy monarchs and 48 girl monarchs. And then we only had just a couple swallowtails. This was the first year that I had planted some herbs for the swallowtails. I had 2 girls and 1 boy that we left go. So those were the numbers of everything that we had this past summer. Hopefully 2022 we will have even more. So this is my chives that I cut from my plant, and I'm just going to rinse them and then chop them up in little pieces, and I'm going to put them just on a cookie sheet and then put them in the freezer for a couple hours. Okay, so here's my chives. I cut them all up there and have them in a cookie sheet, so I'm going to put them in the freezer. Okay, so here are my chives. I had them in the freezer for just a couple hours, more than I wanted, but they still turned out okay. They're not in clumps, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want them in clumps. So now I'm going to put a bunch of them in Ziploc baggies for now. I didn't have a chance to run and get some little glass jars, so I'm just going to put them in baggies, and then when I get the jars I will transfer them into the jars. But this is what they look like. So here are the chives. I put them in bags and got as much air out of them as I could, and I'll just put them back in the freezer. So this is my chives plant that I cut quite a bit of chives off, but I still have some left, so I'm probably will come back out later on and get some more to cut off and freeze. So here's my parsley plant that I think I'm going to harvest today. And what you want to do is cut the stems down here, so you're not just clipping off these the little leaves. You want to cut down here, and I'm just going to go around and do, I think, mostly the outside of the plant. It is dying because it is getting winter time. I did not trim it over the summer, but I think I'm going to try and harvest some of it for the winter so we can use it with our cooking. So I rinsed the parsley off, and I'm just going to be cutting the stems probably about here. I'll probably rinse the parsley off again, and then I'm just going to use the tray again and put them on there and freeze them probably for just a couple minutes before I put them in the bags, and then I'll put them in the freezer for when we want to use them. Okay, so I rinsed these out and I found a couple more bad areas, so I took them out. I wanted to make sure that I got all the bugs and everything. I don't use any pesticides or any growing fertilizers or anything like that on my plants, but you do want to make sure that you rinse it out really good. And I chopped up, I know some people don't like the stems, but I'll probably take that one out because there's nothing in there, but I just chopped everything up together. Okay, so I took the parsley out of the freezer. I didn't leave it in there for that long, and then put my parsley in a bag, got all the air out of it, and sealed it. So I will just put it in the freezer with my chives that I did, and that way throughout the winter we'll have some fresh herbs this year. I'll probably label on here what they are just so I don't forget.